everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, I mean, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you had the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind, or the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting?
Everybody thinks they know how to develop a quarterback, but Tom Brady just reminded the world that assumption might be the NFL's biggest illusion. Brady, the man whose career redefined the word excellence, sat down and dropped a truth bomb so raw, it froze the entire football world mid-scroll. The topic?
The local Cleveland media keep going relentless on Shadur Sanders. He entitled, distracted, developing slow, can't learn the playbook, not getting practice reps with the scout team, not getting practice reps at all. But what if I told you? Then don't none of that got to do nothing with it. This goes deeper than people realize. If y'all ain't seen the Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd, now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterback.
Cleveland Browns, Shadur Sanders, and the ugly truth about quarterback development in the NFL. What Brady revealed sounded less like a critique and more like an indictment. He basically said, most people in this league have no idea what they're doing when it comes to developing quarterbacks.
Sat behind Drew, who was a franchise quarterback, right? In my second year, it's training camp. And we had a very good quarterback coach named Dick Rabine, and God rest his soul. Unfortunately, he passed away in training camp and of a heart attack. And it was a very difficult loss for our team. And the way that we found a way to continue on that season is Bill Belichick became more of a quarterback coach than we ever imagined him being a quarterback coach. He was he was obviously a head coach, very involved in defensive game planning.
Imagine that coming from the greatest of all time. Brady didn't hold back. He tore through the myth that every NFL program knows how to nurture young talent. He questioned everything. Offensive coordinators.
So, is either the Browns are actually developing Shadur, which I told y'all before too. They actions say otherwise. But Tom Brady gonna break it down in how he got developed early on in his career, eventually lead him to 7 Super Bowls. So if quarterbacks not getting developed, anything similar to this?
Quarterback coaches, entire systems. He said if you can rank quarterbacks from 1 to 32, you can do the same for coordinators and QB coaches. And if your guy is ranked dead last, what chance does a rookie have? That's when it hit.
Let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shadur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate. Why not allow the players that are competing for a job, in this instance, Shadur Sanders, to finish off the 2 minutes?
The Cleveland Browns suddenly found themselves under Brady's microscope. The reason? Shadur Sanders. According to Brady, Cleveland wasn't developing the kid. They were sabotaging him. And when Tom Brady says sabotage, the league listens. This wasn't a casual opinion tossed out for headlines. It was a warning shot.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shadur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it. Well, here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been he's been playing against the third unit. He's fourth on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup, and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just gonna throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, you know, if he had first team snaps in practice, I don't say that.
Brady described a pattern he's seen for years. Teams that talk about development, but never actually do it. They hand players a playbook, skip the mentorship, and call it growth. Cleveland, he said, was a prime example. The Browns coaching staff, already under scrutiny for their revolving door reputation, suddenly looked like the face of dysfunction. The local media kept hammering Shadur, calling him entitled, distracted, slow to learn, not grasping the playbook, not getting reps. But what if, Brady asked, none of that had to do with the player at all?
That call, he makes that call. Why? Because I want the last thing people to see is the mistakes and the sacks that happen and not give him a chance to redeem himself. Because I think probably what would have happened, okay, we can't have Shadur come in here and finish this 2-minute drive and go down and get a touchdown. We don't want that. And in chat, for those of you who are listening and watching, I'm not making any excuses for him. He played bad. But I can tell you why he played bad. I mean, if you know the game of football and understand the game of football, understand that those that are in there with him during that time, I'm not going to be able to.
What if it was the coaches? What if Cleveland never intended to give him a fair shot? That's when this story turned from sports to scandal. Brady's comments weren't vague or speculative. He shared his own story, how he developed behind Drew Bledsoe, how he was coached by Dick Rebane, and how after Rebane's tragic passing, Bill Belichick himself stepped in as an active quarterback mentor.
Why is the third quarterback getting interviewed? It got nothing to do with the game. Okay, it's all for media clicks. And he's a heck of a personality, but the personality can't come out until you do something on the field. And it's a big week for Dylan Gabriel and a big week for the Browns. I mean, making that transition for him even to be available to the press. I don't know why he's doing it.
You tell me, you know how that works. Is that the front office? Is that the comms team? Like, who's putting him out? So we're saying it's not really on him. We have to protect him. He's a young player.
Yep.
Why are we making him available?
Exactly. To me, I mean, there's no sense to have him available.
Brady painted a picture of what true development looks like: constant coaching, accountability, and trust. He contrasted that with what he sees now: coaches hiding behind analytics, players thrown into chaos, no structure, no growth. And in Cleveland, it's apparently worse.
Thrown in there with the Wolves, because the real Wolves come during the season. Pittsburgh is coming. Baltimore is coming. The real Wolves is coming. Now, I am praying to God that Shadur gets an opportunity to show what he can really do. And I think that would be probably the best thing for him. But knowing the Cleveland Browns, they dumbass gonna trade.
Brady said the Browns talk about building quarterbacks, but treat it like a PR slogan. Shadur, he explained, has been practicing with the third unit, barely touching the field with starters, and yet somehow expected to perform like a seasoned veteran when thrown into real game action. That's not coaching. That's sabotage. And that's when the NFL collectively gasped, because this isn't just about one player, it's about a system. The league loves to blame players for every failure, every interception, every stalled drive. But Brady flipped that script and said the quiet part out loud. Some coaches wouldn't know player development if it slapped them in the face with a laminated playbook. The harsh truth? Quarterbacks like Shadur Sanders are being failed before they even take a snap. Cleveland, once again, finds itself at the center of chaos. The Browns' PR team scrambled, feeding the usual lines. We believe in competition. We're still evaluating. Development takes time. But as Brady pointed out, that's just noise. When a player's not given first-team reps, when he's learning an offense piecemeal, when no one in the building takes accountability, that's not development. That's organized neglect. Imagine being asked to bake a cake without ingredients, then being blamed for not producing dessert. That's the situation Brady says Shadur is in, and he's not wrong. The Browns are running a system that doesn't develop. It filters. The chosen ones get the work. The rest get the blame. Brady even compared the coaching culture to corporate dysfunction. Interns get fired for mistakes, while the bosses who created the chaos get promotions. Accountability, he said, is a one-way street in the NFL. Players are disposable, coaches are untouchable. And this is where the story takes a darker turn. Brady didn't just criticize the Browns, he exposed a league-wide pattern. He said, "We judge players like contestants on a reality show, but we treat coaches like they're gods." His words cut deep because everyone knows it's true. The Browns coaching staff, for example, has had 4 different offensive coordinators in 6 seasons. Their quarterback room is a revolving door of confusion. And into that chaos, they threw Shadur Sanders, a young quarterback with raw talent, NFL pedigree, and massive expectations. From day one, he was set up to fail. And then the media piled on, headlines calling him unfocused, not ready, arrogant. But none of them asked why. None questioned how a player could possibly develop under a structure where his coach doesn't even know what the weekly game plan is until Friday. Brady saw through the smokescreen. He knows what a toxic football environment looks like because he's seen both sides. The excellence of New England and the dysfunction of everywhere else. He said it plainly. If you're not developing players like we did, you're not developing players at all. The statement sent shockwaves through locker rooms and front offices. Players started quietly echoing his words online. Analysts began dissecting Cleveland's practice habits, rep distribution, and coaching hierarchy. And as the noise grew, the Browns looked more and more like a franchise caught red-handed. Then came Stephen A. Smith. The moment Brady's words hit the airwaves, Stephen A. didn't just agree, he erupted. "This ain't development," he shouted on live TV. "This is entrapment." He accused the Browns of sabotaging Shadur from day one, saying no quarterback can grow when they're surrounded by inconsistency and indifference. He compared it to tossing someone the keys to a car in the middle of a tornado and saying, "Show us what you can do." That's how he described Shadur's situation, and he wasn't wrong.
Listen, that's what you asked for. You know, that's what you asked for within the game. If I could go back and do anything, I mean, it's always everything in life if you had that chance, but we don't have the luxury to travel back in time. As a kid, I would want to go back and do things differently. So overall, of course, you know, you wish you can, but in the battle of the moment, in the heat of the battle, you know, you want to be that alpha, you want to be that dog, you want to be out there in that final 2-minute drive. So, you know, of course, small things, of course, frustrate, but that's what happens, you know, when you want a player to be able to